I'm working on this investment strategy idea that I got, and I want to share it with you and get your thoughts. I got a little cash in my pocket and I kind of want to make a splash, and I'd love to have your opinion on what you think I should invest in. I'll tell you what I'm thinking, then I want to know what you think. What's going on, everybody? It's Adam at Proper Royals. Thank you for joining me today. Man, I'm feeling good today. I had a killer show on the live last night with Ryan from Spartan Pythons, and you also might know him from Welcome to the Grow Tent. What a great dude. Go check out his channels. Do me a favor. He's really solid guy to my channel here. So thanks, Ryan. I look forward to the next time. If we've not met before, this channel is all about my family's journey from ball python hobbyist to ball python business. We document everything right here. We talk about ball pythons, business, marketing, creative ideas, and that's what today is about. We're at I wouldn't call it a milestone, just we're at a moment where it's time for a new investment. I want to share that today and I want to talk through it. I hope you enjoy the channel. If you haven't been here before, consider liking, subscribing. If you enjoy it, I'd love to have you hang out with me in the future. Down below, there's a link tree link that will take you to all the Proper Royals socials. There's a direct contact from me. I'll reply to all emails. If you want to shoot me a line, let me know what you think. And hey, if you think that your brand would benefit from some exposure advertising with me or sponsoring some videos, feel free to drop me a line. I'd love to talk with you about it. Let me give you some context about my collection and where I'm at in my journey, in this journey that we're on. Big picture, I'm in my second year of breeding. I've put the over-under on clutches this year at 10. I could have as many as 13, and I'm not going to talk about how many few I could have. That's bad juju, right? I got the over-under at 10, and I think that's a pretty likely number. Maybe I'll hit 11, maybe some will surprise me, but I think 10 is a safe number for what I'll have this year. My goal and my excitement has always been with recessives. I didn't realize it when I started, but that's kind of the way that the market's going, and it always seemed kind of the exciting long play for me. This has never been a get-rich-quick scheme for me, although I do want it to be profitable. It needs to be profitable this year, really. If it's not, I've got to adjust if not. But I'm on pace to be profitable this year, and I think I'll be profitable for the whole time of my existence this year. I'll pay off all investments and I'll pay everything off. I'll be totally in the black for everything I've ever spent on ball pythons this year, and it won't take 10 clutches to get there. So that's all going well. That's cool. I'm happy with that. So I've really focused on recessives. I love recessives. I gotta tell you, I gotta come clean here. I've not been totally truthful. Now, it hasn't been purposeful, but it's still been inaccurate. So I'll call it inaccurate instead of a lie. I've always focused on recessives, and I usually say that I have more recessives than dominant, co-dominant. I'm going to use those interchangeable in this video. I get exhausted trying to parse which is which, or which hasn't been proven, or the genetic, the human words for the genetic scenario. I'm just going to call them dominants for the sake of ease this video. So I have 10 recessive genes in my collection. I got about 50 snakes, and that's a lot. I get it. A lot of people think I'm nuts for having that many. Maybe I'll grow with it. Maybe I'll get out of some of them. Who knows? Right now, I'm really enjoying all of them, and I love them. They're so cool. So I've got 10 recessive genes in my collection, and I always say I've got more recessives than I do dominants. Well, in preparation for this investment consideration, I took a little closer look, and lists are nice because they're concise and right down to it. And I have to tell you, I actually have 12 dominants in my collection. I've been spreading misinformation out there. My apologies. Nonetheless, here's my thought. I've spent over 2 years now accumulating a really strong foundation of recessives. So I think of my snakes as ingredients in a dish or paint on a artist's palette. And I've spent a lot of time investing and finding opportunities to get various recessive genes that I love. And now I could start, this year I'll start producing my own recessives, and I can start planning for producing visual recessives in the future. And recessives get really exciting once you can build in combos with the dominants, you know, and actually go to double and triple and you know, hopefully aim for quads one day and all of that kind of thing, which is just super big picture. So here's where the conundrum came in. I've got 12 doms and co-doms. I've got plenty to work with, but I'm also at a point where I have some money that I can put and inject into the business and hopefully move it forward, both in what I'm creating and financially. Look, I want to treat this as, I do treat this as a business. I want this to be my primary business. I'm very considerate and I'm very intentional about the financial decisions that I make. Look, everything's relative, but when we're talking more than $1,000 for one snake, that's a lot of money. And it wasn't so long ago in my life I would have laughed in your face if you told me I would ever purchase $1,000 snake. So when I use the word investment, I do mean that. I want to enjoy it and I want to appreciate and value it as the animal that it is. But it is also a commodity, and it is also an investment purchase in that commodity, to which I intend to add value and make a profit on. I want to add value in the form of breeding and doing new things, or doing things that the market wants that doesn't already have. And I want to do things that there's a demand for. That's the business side of it. So I was working on a collaborative video with Steven over at Leviathan Snakes, and I can't take credit for this idea. He says to me, you know, Adam, you're kind of known as the recessive guy. What if there was such a blockbuster dominant gene that it made you want to buy it and breed and invest and breed that through your visual females so that you have hets of that dominant? You have the dominant gene and then hets of those females. You could hold back your favorites and you could make a splash in a market if it were one of the newer dominant genes that hasn't had a whole lot of recessive exposure yet. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty tight and conservative with my dollar, so I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. But I've been planning to make some purchases, and I have that money now properly. I didn't just go into debt. I made plans. I have it. I've saved it. This money is earmarked for the Proper Royals business. And I started going to myself, man, maybe Steven's got a point. So my whole notion today is, what dominant gene would you buy that you would invest in? And it's got to be something new. Like, if there's already tons of hets out there, this strategy isn't exciting. It's got to be new enough that it doesn't have much exposure. It's got to be cool enough that I'm going to be interested in it. Otherwise, I just go set to banging out, you know, I got 12 non-recessive dominants to work with. I can make some killer combos. What would be exciting and what would be high demand on the market? So I can make money, I can make a return on my investment, I can be excited, and I could start carving out a little more of a niche. So instead of just being the recessive guy, I could be the X recessive guy, or X het X, Y, and Z recessive guy. Think about that for a minute. Let me give you some stats on my recessives. I've got 10 recessive genes in my collection: Axanthic, Albino, Candy, Clown, Cryptic, Ghost, Genetic Stripe, Lavender, Pied, and Ultramel. Those are the 10 that I have in my collection, and I am working with them. I'm not actively working with Albino, and I don't know, maybe. I gotta see. I got one that's a possible double het that could be cool. Don't worry about Albino. My visual females that are breeding, my breeding visual females this season, right here, right now, it's we're just about to head into June, into the summer, so the 2021-22 breeding season is kind of winding down, and I'm about to go into heavy egg season, but the new breeding season for the fall and the winters is right around the corner, right? And that's another reason why I'm making these considerations. What do I want to plan for coming up? I can't just make willy-nilly knee-jerk decisions when it comes to pairings, right? The visual females that I have that will be breeders this year coming up are Axanthic, Candy, Ghost, Lavender, Pied, and Ultramel. I could work on some hets for those projects, and I could work on some visuals with those recessives, which would be cool. So I actually have really cool, really specific plans already for the lavender and the pieds. I've got a ton of pied material to work with that I really want to stack some dominants into pieds. Cool. Let me set that one aside. My lavender project is actually a lavender pied. It's a dreamsicle project. I don't have one yet, but that's what the project is. I have a chance to hit that in the next breeding season, this upcoming pairing. So I'm gonna take lav out of the mix of what I'm considering this strategy for. So that leaves me Axanthic, Candy, Ghost, and Ultramel. There are a handful of fairly new on the scene dominant genes or codominant genes that those hets don't exist for. Everybody jumps to pied, everybody jumps to clown for good reason. No problem, but they're ahead of me. But there are a handful, and they're not available. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm not saying that if you have the right connections and you know the right people, you can't find them. What I am saying is if I could have 3 to 4 clutches, let's aim for 4, if only 3 go, of whatever gene, we're just gonna call this, I can't call it gene X because there is a gene X already. So we're gonna call it the John Doe gene. So John Doe, het Axanthic, John Doe, het Candy, John Doe, het Ghost, and John Doe, het Ultramels. If I average 6 eggs on those clutches, which generally my girls average a little bit higher than that. These are all, 2 will be on their repeat breeding season of higher than 6. 2 will be their first time breeding. So we'll see, we'll call it 6. I can have a fair amount of retail revenue and hold back and further my projects. Furthermore, these are all breeding females, which means the males I could quickly put back to the females to get the visual John Doe recessive. Be early to the market. Maybe not first, but early to the market with that. So with all of that being said, what gene would you invest in right now, given all of that context and all of that structure? Because I'm gonna pull the trigger on something. I've got the funds, I can make it happen. There's a fine balance between being too early, I produce all this and nobody ever hears of the gene. Now I've done it, I've blown a whole bunch of cash in, I gotta take up a whole bunch of space in my precious square footage. If the market suddenly gets flooded, it'll go down, maybe the demand will be high, but I won't get as big of a return. So where's that sweet spot of known, but still pretty new in the recessive games? What would you buy? This idea is just etched in my mind. I'm so confused on where to go. What should I buy? Thanks for checking out the video. Tell me what you think. In the meantime, check out these videos. I'll keep you informed of everything that I do, and whatever in the world it is that I buy, I'll tell you about it right here on Proper Royals. Thank you so much for joining me today. I cannot wait until I get to see you in the next video. Until then, see ya.